Hello, and welcome to 20 Minutes with Jesus. Take a moment to settle your heart. There is no need to rush, no need to explain anything. You are safe here. As this year comes to an end, many people are carrying stories that did not unfold the way they hoped. Things were said that should never have been spoken. Choices were made that brought pain instead of peace. Situations meant to harm, discourage, or break the spirit may still feel very close to the surface. Some wounds are visible, others are quiet and deeply personal. But God sees them all. There is a unique kind of heaviness that comes when we look back at a year and realize that parts of it still hurt. Not because we failed, but because life happened. Injustice, betrayal, loss, disappointment. These things leave marks. And sometimes the hardest part is not what happened, but the lingering question. What do I do with this now? This episode is not about denying pain. It is not about pretending everything was good. It is about gently bringing what was meant to harm into the presence of a God who redeems. God does not minimize suffering. He does not rush healing. And He does not ask us to forget what shaped us. Instead, He meets us in the middle of our story and begins a work that only He can do, transforming what was meant for harm into something that no longer has power to destroy us. This is not instant, and it is not shallow. Many people struggle at the end of the year because they feel pressure to close the cycle emotionally, as if healing must be completed on a schedule. But God does not work by deadlines, He works by presence. You may still feel affected by what you went through. That does not mean God failed you. It means the story is not finished. Throughout Scripture, we see that God's redemptive work often happens quietly, over time. He does not erase the past, but He reframes it. He does not deny the evil that was done, but He refuses to let it have the final word. What was meant to harm you does not define you. What was meant to silence you does not own your future. What was meant to end you does not outrank God's purpose. This does not mean everything that happened was good. Some things were wrong. Some things were painful. Some things should never have happened. But God's power is not limited by the intentions of others. He is able to work beyond them, above them, and through them. As we begin this time together, I invite you to bring one thing to mind, not to relive it, but to acknowledge it. Something from this year that still feels unresolved. Something that hurt deeply. Something you do not yet understand. You do not need to analyze it. You do not need to justify it. You do not need to fix it. Just allow God to meet you there. This episode is an invitation to rest in the truth that your story is not over. That what tried to break you will not be the conclusion. That God is not finished with what you carry. Redemption does not always look like restoration of what was lost. Sometimes it looks like peace where there was chaos, strength where there was weakness, hope where there was despair. And often, it begins with a quiet realization. God is still at work in me. As we move forward, we will explore how God transforms pain without denying it, and how healing can begin even when answers are still incomplete. For now, simply stay here. Let your heart breathe. And remember, nothing that touched your life is beyond the reach of God's redemptive love. There is a delicate tension that lives in many hearts when we hear that God can transform what was meant for harm into good. Part of us wants to believe it. Another part hesitates because the pain was real. The injustice was real. The loss was real. And faith never asks us to deny what truly happened. God does not call evil good. He does not excuse what wounded you. He does not minimize the weight of what you carried. Transformation does not mean rewriting history as if nothing hurt. It means allowing God to enter the story at a deeper level, a place where pain no longer defines the ending. Many people struggle because they believe that if God transforms something, it must suddenly feel good or make sense. But God's work is often quieter than that. He does not rush meaning. He restores the heart before explaining the reason. What was meant to harm you may have shaped fears, patterns, or defenses you did not choose. It may have changed how you trust, how you relate, how you see yourself. God sees all of this. And His redemption reaches further than the event itself. It reaches the places it touched inside you. This is where true transformation begins. God does not simply change circumstances, He transforms identity. He takes what was meant to diminish you and slowly restores dignity. He takes what was meant to silence you and gives you a voice again, sometimes quietly, sometimes only in prayer at first. Transformation often happens beneath the surface. You may not see immediate changes around you, but something within you begins to shift. The pain no longer controls your reactions the same way. The memory loses its power to define your future. The wound becomes a place where compassion, wisdom, and depth grow. This does not happen overnight, and it does not require you to get over what happened. It requires you to let God walk with you through it. Many people feel stuck because they are waiting to feel healed before trusting God again. But God invites trust even while healing is still unfolding. He does not ask you to understand everything. He asks you to remain open to His presence. What was meant for harm often tries to tell a story about who you are. That you are broken, forgotten, or disqualified. God's redemption gently replaces that story with truth. You are still chosen, still seen, still held. God's ability to redeem does not depend on the severity of the pain. There is no wound too deep, no story too complex, no season too dark for His redemptive work. What others intended to destroy, God is able to transform into something that strengthens you from the inside out. This does not mean the journey becomes easy, but it becomes meaningful. Redemption does not erase memory, but it changes its voice. Redemption does not remove scars, but it removes shame. Redemption does not rush closure, but it brings peace in the waiting. As this year ends, you may be carrying moments that still ache. That does not mean God has not been working. Often, His deepest work happens where we are still tender. You are not behind in healing. You are not failing at faith. You are not asking too much of God. Transformation is a process of trust, not performance. God's redemptive power does not require you to be strong. It requires you to remain willing to bring what hurts into His presence, willing to let Him shape meaning over time, willing to believe that your story is not concluded by what harmed you. As we continue, allow this truth to settle gently. God is not done with what touched your life. The harm did not outrank His purpose, and the pain will not be the final chapter. God is still writing, and redemption is already at work. There is a sacred moment in the journey of healing when the heart begins to realize that what was meant to harm did not succeed in destroying it. The pain may still be present, the memory may still surface, but something deeper has already changed. Hope begins to rise quietly, not as excitement, but as strength. This is where God's redemption becomes visible. God's work is not always dramatic. Often, it is subtle and steady. He does not announce healing with noise. He allows it to grow gently, almost unnoticed at first. One day, You realize that something that once controlled you no longer has the same power. A situation that once defined you no longer owns your future. This is transformation. When something is meant to harm us, it often tries to shape our identity. It tells us who we are. It whispers lies about our worth, our safety, our place in the world. Over time, these lies can settle deeply, becoming beliefs we never chose consciously. But God is a redeemer of identity. He does not simply remove pain. He restores truth. He replaces the false narratives written by trauma, betrayal, loss, or injustice with something far more enduring: His presence and His purpose. What was meant to break you may have taught you to survive. God teaches you how to live again. What was meant to silence you may have taught you to retreat. God teaches you how to stand with quiet confidence. What was meant to harden your heart may have taught you to protect yourself. God teaches you how to trust again, slowly and safely. This does not mean the pain disappears completely. It means it no longer defines who you are becoming. God's redemption is not about returning you to who you were before the harm. It is about forming you into someone deeper, wiser, and more grounded than you could have been otherwise. Not because the pain was good, but because God is faithful. There is a mystery in redemption. God does not waste suffering, but He also does not need suffering to be good in order to redeem it. He works with what exists, even when it was never His intention. This is important for the heart to understand. God did not cause what harmed you, but He is not absent from what follows. Redemption often looks like perspective slowly changing. You begin to see that the harm did not take everything from you. You still have faith. You still have compassion. You still have the ability to love, to hope, to trust God. Even if that trust feels quieter now, that quiet trust is powerful. Many people think redemption means success, restoration, or visible victory. But often, redemption begins internally. It looks like peace returning where anxiety once lived. It looks like courage forming where fear once ruled. It looks like dignity replacing shame. Redemption gives meaning without excusing harm. You do not have to call what happened good in order to believe that God can bring good from it. God never asks you to deny the truth of your experience. He invites you to let Him shape the outcome. As this year comes to a close, you may be looking back and realizing that you are still standing, not untouched, but still standing. That alone is evidence of God's sustaining grace. You may not have answers yet. You may not see how everything fits together. You may still feel tenderness in certain places. That does not mean redemption is incomplete. It means it is still unfolding. God's redemption is patient. It unfolds in layers. He reveals meaning as the heart becomes ready to carry it. Sometimes He protects us from understanding too much, too soon. This is mercy. You are not behind in healing. You are not weak for still feeling. You are not failing because some days are harder than others. Redemption is not a straight line. It is a faithful walk with God through time. And here's the truth that anchors everything. What was meant to harm you did not remove God's hand from your life. It did not cancel your calling. It did not erase your value. It did not change God's commitment to you. God is not limited by the intentions of others. He is not threatened by broken chapters. He is not finished when the story feels painful. He is still writing. As you move forward, allow this truth to settle deeply. Your story is not defined by what wounded you, but by the God who walks with you through it. Redemption is not about forgetting the past. It is about refusing to let the past decide the future. And in God's hands, Even what was meant for harm becomes a place where hope is reborn. As we move forward, it is important to talk gently about what happens inside us after harm. Even when God is redeeming a story, the mind and heart can still carry patterns formed in pain. Thoughts may return, memories may surface, emotions may feel unpredictable. This does not mean healing has stopped. It means healing is still in motion. Many people feel discouraged when old feelings reappear, as if progress has been lost. But healing is not undone by moments of vulnerability. God's work is not fragile. It is patient and resilient. What matters is how we respond when these thoughts arise. When memories resurface, faith invites us to meet them differently. Instead of fighting them with force, we can acknowledge them with truth. We can remind our hearts that the story did not end where the pain began. We can gently say, "This hurt me, but it no longer defines me." Anxiety often tries to pull the mind into the past or push it into the future. It revisits what cannot be changed or imagines what has not yet happened. God invites us back to the present moment, where His presence is already near. You do not need to resolve everything at once. You do not need to understand every detail. You do not need to rush yourself toward closure. Faith grows when we learn to pause. Pausing allows the body to soften. It allows the breath to slow. It allows the heart to remember that it is not alone. In these pauses, God often does His quietest and most effective work. When anxious thoughts arise, it can help to gently redirect the focus of the heart. Not by denying reality, but by placing reality in God's hands. A simple prayer can be enough. God, this feels heavy. I trust you with it. Over time, these small moments of surrender build inner stability. God does not expect you to manage pain perfectly. He invites you to bring it to Him honestly. Each time you choose trust over rumination, peace grows a little stronger. Each time you choose presence over panic, redemption deepens. Healing is not about erasing the past. It is about learning to live fully again, even with memory. God walks with you in this process, guiding your thoughts, steadying your emotions, and restoring rest to your soul. And this gentle, faithful work continues, even when you do not feel it. Let us take this final moment together in prayer. God, we come before you with hearts that have carried much. We bring you the moments that hurt, the words that wounded, and the experiences that left marks we did not choose. You see what was meant to harm us, and you see how deeply it touched our lives. Today, we place all of this in your hands. We do not ask you to erase our memories. We ask you to redeem them. We do not ask you to pretend the pain was small. We ask you to show us how your grace is greater. Where there is lingering heaviness, bring peace. Where there is confusion, bring clarity. Where there is fear of being hurt again, bring gentle courage. Teach us to trust you with our story, not only the parts we understand, but also the chapters that still feel unfinished. Help us release the need to control outcomes and rest in the assurance that you are still writing. God, we surrender what we cannot fix. We release what we cannot change. We receive your presence as our safety and our hope. Thank you for walking with us through every season. Thank you for being faithful when others were not. Thank you for redeeming what was meant to break us and using it to form something deeper within us. We trust you with what comes next. Amen. As we come to the end of this time, allow your heart to remain still for a moment. You do not need to rush into understanding. Redemption unfolds gently. God does not hurry the healing of the heart. If this moment resonated with you, Continue this quiet walk with God. Return to Him when memories surface. Sit with Him when emotions feel tender. Let trust grow slowly, without pressure. Until we meet again, remember this truth. Your story is not defined by what harmed you. It is shaped by the God who redeems, restores, and walks with you, patiently, faithfully, and with love. You are not alone, and your story is still being written.